Good court.
There's obviously a lot of differences with your team from the Texas game last. Are there any differences that you've seen from Texas?
Yeah, they played a lot better here in the last, I guess, a couple of weeks. They were obviously 2-0 when they came in here, but they kind of got off track a little bit and seemed to kind of figure things out again. Really tough at home. So they beat Kansas there. They played really well there, and I think the biggest difference is Courtney Ramey. He's been probably the best player the last 5 games or so. Numbers have really improved. He's getting really comfortable, and certainly somebody who got the game plan for.
I imagine that probably doesn't surprise you to see him playing well.
No, no, not at all. I mean, I watched that kid a lot and got to know him. He's such a competitor, and you knew he'd figure it out before long, and he has. And they now playing him and Coleman together a lot with Roach. So they got really 3 good playmaking guards out there most of the time. Still play Favorites, but they rely on those guys a lot.
Isaac said that obviously wasn't any fun to watch film from Wednesday's game, but said it was important to see areas where it was uncharacteristic. What, obviously you said the other day, you didn't really need to watch it, but what did watching it teach you or teach the players maybe?
I think I talked about this with Hunziker yesterday on my radio show. I don't know if players necessarily evaluate things as they're going on. Their attention spans are really short. It's kind of one of those generational things, I guess. I actually heard a study that kids only pay attention to things for like 2 seconds at a time now. So they kind of let things go pretty quickly. So I don't know if during the game they can feel the momentum maybe going in a bad direction and have the ability to stop it. But when they watch the film, there's no denying. I'm telling them, hey, that's us. And that's me on the sideline. That's you in the uniform out there. That's us not doing the things that are necessary to have success. So they probably need film more than I maybe needed to. I wasn't as good as half these guys, so I kind of knew when I was bad immediately. Most of the times I was on the bench when that happened. But it was good for them to see. It's always good for them to see. And it's good for us to have honest dialogue about what's happening. There wasn't a whole lot of good. There's usually some things we could say. We did some good things in this game, but after the first 3 or 4 possessions, we'll kind of stopped them, but still didn't score. It's pretty all uphill from there.
And a lot of these guys are also in a spot now where if they're doing something wrong, there's not a lot of area to take somebody out and sit them on the bench.
I was very honest about that. I told the guys, I said, listen, if you're going to go out there and not do what you're supposed to do for your team, you're essentially saying that you're not focused and it's not that important, because you all know that there's not a whole lot I can do. And I can scream and kick and yell, but I'm going to look down the bench and you're the best option we have at the moment right now. So you can either figure it out and do a better job for your team and for our program at the moment, or we're going to continue to struggle to have success.
Kind of building off that, I imagine there are times where even if they're not in too big of trouble, it's easy to take a guy out so you can communicate with him something that you want him to do. I imagine that's a difficult part of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the challenge we have, but I do feel like they care. They're just not as conscious of things as they need to be. Problem is, I only get 4 timeouts. Try to be more liberal with them, but I can't call them all in the first half. I don't think. Maybe I should try that. Because the last 2 home games have been over at halftime. So what am I using? I don't need them in the second half. So maybe trying to help them a little bit more, get through those tough moments and remind them of, hey, we got to be more dialed in this area of the game. But I mean, so we put those guys in the game. It's not just because it was a blowout. I was hoping we'd put them out and we'd be up a big margin. But they're getting better and getting more confidence, and maybe they can give us a little bit more options, not only to necessarily correct the guys, but to give them some rest at times.
I recently interviewed your wife, Jenny, about the work she's done with the team from a nutrition standpoint. How has she been helping the guys, especially now there's fewer on the roster?
You think I have anything bad to say? I already missed Valentine's Day, right? We said Slim Chickens for an hour. She's phenomenal. And I knew of her professional ability before I even got to know her on a more personal level. I think she's a great asset. It's an area that's really, really important, especially when you're trying to figure out how to maintain and take care of your bodies as well as you can under some different circumstances. She provides a resource that they're comfortable with, right? But I think for the whole athletic department in general, she's been a big benefit.
Right, that's good. Another thing she talked about, I know, is she said she feels like sometimes to Ace and Zoe, it doesn't necessarily sink in that you're the OSU men's basketball coach. And she talked about how Zoe's been up here before and almost gotten run over for drills and stuff. What is that like, just having when they're around here?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. I mean, I try to foster an environment where family is really important. Try to make sure that not just my family, but my kids, but the assistant coaches and Lance and Keaton, who's a new dad, that they all feel like their families are part of this. We all make great sacrifices, and so as much as we can include them, it's important. My kids, to your point, they could care less. My son likes the games. I think Zoe likes it. She doesn't ever talk about basketball. So they'll get there. Eventually they'll understand it. But my son right now is just like, dude, when can we go see Wildcats again?
You mentioned family atmosphere. Was it kind of crazy to see all the Suttons in the house and then you kind of being now a part of that lineage?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not the first time it's happened, so it doesn't necessarily have the same impact. But it's always great to see Coach Sutton here, Coach Eddie Sutton. But to have Sean back and maybe tying it all together, it's important to our fans that we recognize them and all the contributions they made to put our program in position to be nationally relevant. And now we just have to build a program from a talent standpoint, from a playing standpoint, to the point where we can be competitive at a national level.
What are your interactions with Eddie?
It's not, I mean, we don't communicate a ton. I don't know if he communicates with anybody a ton. Obviously his family, his health isn't great. But just to have him here, his presence alone is enough for me, and to know from Scott and people who are really close to him that he is very supportive of what we're doing and how we're doing it. Couldn't ask for a bigger advocate.